Good evening, Carol Asher, Gregory, Michigan.
Thanks, Carol. If everybody could please turn off your cameras and mute your lines. My name's Lynn Schuessler Williams, and I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, a speaker, coach, author, and I am here to welcome you to the Wednesday training Zoom for Success Partners International. We start all our calls and trainings with our signature message for Success Partners. We can all say, I am part of a growing team of entrepreneurs with a shared mission to protect and empower 2 million families and small businesses with Legal Shield's network of law firms and world-class identity theft services. What we do matters, and we're looking for help. And with that, I have the great pleasure of turning our training Zoom over to a gentleman who is a mentor to all of us, a man I'm happy to call friend, a serial entrepreneur, a leader among leaders, Mr. Timmer Halligan. The call is yours.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn, and thank you, Steve, for getting us kicked off with a little bit of a happy hour, social hour, abbreviated, and that really is fun, guys. You know, you really should get on to our team training Zoom a little bit early because it's kind of nice. You know, you come out after you get to unwind after a long day, and you know, Steve's playing some great music, and every once in a while we get to see Mr. Drennan dance, which is always fun. But Lynn did a great job getting us kicked off and everybody checked in. And, you know, we do such a great job of this, of following the rules. And let me tell you, when we follow the rules when it comes to doing things like Zoom and being in the world of business, you know, it truly, truly means a lot. And so as we do these things, you know, I just want to commend each and every person. You know, when we say, hey, turn the cameras off, you know, the cameras get off. When we say to mute your lines, the lines get muted, and then we get to have a much more effective call. Well, listen, happy September, team. You know, what an incredible month in Legal Shield, you know, for the company. And, you know, all I always say about that, and, you know, is did you get everything that you wanted out of last month? If you did, fantastic. If you didn't, guess what? It's a new month, right? It's a brand new month. You know, that's the beautiful thing about a brand new month is you can always, you know, push it off and say, okay, now I'm going to get this. But you don't want to get into the habit of doing that too often because that's just not the way that you achieve, you know, that lasting success. You know, we're about 2 weeks out of our summer blast, and what an incredible event that was. You know, continue to, you know, reflect back upon it. I know Mr. Drennan sent out today an email for those that attended the summer blast that you can now go back and watch those. I haven't had a chance to go there yet, but you absolutely want to make sure that you do that. And, you know, Lynn Schuessler Williams just kicked off an amazing event last night, virtual networking. How important is that? You know, we're going to talk about that for just a second here in a minute. But that webinar, or excuse me, that course, 6 weeks, you know, she's extended, you know, for those that didn't get registered. And Lynn, if you could post the link in the chat box, and she's got a special code where you can still get $10 off. You know, everybody else, you know, when you originally signed up got more than that, but now she's still giving $10 off. Let me tell you, it's absolutely worth it to take that class. I mean, you know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that because, you know, we're in a new place, right? And I did part of this training, you know, at the summer blast. And, you know, we're talking about this new normal that we're in. It goes right back to exactly what Miss Lynn Schuessler Williams is providing with us, a way to be able to adapt, you know, to this new normal that we're in. But how many times have you heard this and you said, goodness gracious, I'm tired of hearing about the new normal? Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. The new normal is here to stay. That's why they call it a new normal. It means that things aren't going to go back to the way they were before, or at least maybe the delivery of things, you know, isn't going to go back to what it was before. And we have to adjust. And that's why this virtually networking is so good. So Lynn, post that link in there. And, you know, we've heard this word a lot this year, pivot. You know, and it says the term pivot has become a buzzword referring to a significant business change. Well, things have had to change in your business, right? The way that you do things has had to change. And that's important to realize. It says a pivot is usually intended to help a business recover from a tough period. Well, Legal Shield's going through an incredible period right now. You know, there's certain businesses that during a time like right now, they actually, take a big decline. But those that pivot or had already seen the pivot, I saw Zoom stock was up, or Zoom's revenue was up 349%. Can you imagine that revenue number? In fact, I'm going to look it up. But it says and other factors that make the original business model unsustainable, different than the way you were doing it. And they had us working from home, and that's changed things. That's put us in a different place of what it is that we are doing it and how we are doing it. We talked about our pivot 2020, which was to use prospect with our prospects, make Zoom our room. We got 2 Zooms a day every single day. Use social media to add to your list daily. Again, a key component to understanding virtual networking. So that's why it's important, because it's a new way of conducting business. And Lynn made such a great point the other day, and I've repeated it actually over and over, even outside of Legal Shield, and that is the fact that if you've got a product or a service that can be sold anywhere in the country, and it's one that the people want to have, need to have, can afford to have, you're going to flourish during this. But the one thing that hasn't changed is that you still have to have the activity, right? Without the activity, you can't get the result. You can say you're going to switch to this, and you're going to start to do that, and I'm going to start going to Zooms, and I'm going to start virtual networking, and I'm going to start doing this, and I'm going to get my DigiCard set up, and I'm going to do all these things. But if you don't do those and the activity, they're all just good thoughts. And so activity is that, this is an acronym for activity. Action takes the proper steps to reach your goal. C stands for commitment. Make and keep your commitments for 2020. A lot of folks realign their commitments for 2020 after the summer blast. Tenacity, go after your goals with unprecedented energy. Intention, set your intention on the activities needed to reach your goals. Visualization, you've got to see the future as it's right now. Live your goals as if they're right now in the present time. I am going to get Performance Club done. I see myself getting Performance Club done. I'm going to do the right activity to get Performance Club done, or I'm going to advance in a position, or whatever it is you're looking for. Integrity, do all things in life by doing what's right. Keep your eye on the prize. Tracking, have a system in place. Your future success depends on following up. The U factor, listen, everyone in Legal Shield has the same opportunity, the same product, the same corporate support. So just go out and do the things that we know we're supposed to do. And here's some of the activities. Right now, stay in contact with your members now more than ever. Now more than ever. Why? Because they need you in ways that they may not even know that they need you. And you can help them by letting them know what's going on and how to use the membership. They can become great associates. They can become great referral partners. And guess what? You can learn more about their business. Maybe you could help promote your members' business. How about that as a phone call to your members and say, hey, I'm just reaching out to you, see how things are going, want to touch base, want to see how things are going in your business. Is there anything I can ever do? Anybody I can maybe lead your way? That's a great thing to say to them. Reach out to your inactive associates. Exposures, daily calls, you got to, do those. And says, how many of you utilize FaceTime or video chat on Facebook? If you don't have an iPhone, you can't do FaceTime, but you can video chat with everybody on Facebook in the messenger section. Get people into prospects. Simply do the math on what it can do for you. Consistently add to your social media. 3-way calls, even better. Get them onto Zooms. Consistently exposing, using technology, following up using technology. You have daily sit-down Zooms. That's a new activity that will become a new normal. Why? It's so simple. I couldn't imagine living in Chicago, if I still live in Chicago, in the middle of January, going out to meet somebody for an appointment when I know Zoom does the same thing and there's 7 inches of snow. I can remember doing that, but guess what? People won't have to do that anymore, or you won't have to do it if you get into using the Zooms. Invite people to Zooms, track your activity, and things to look at is rank advancements. Who's advancing? The number of phone calls you're making, 3-way calls, number of networking events you're now doing virtually. Recruiting, Zooms attended, guests on Zooms. Notice I got rid of PBRs and volunteering. You can't do that as much. And so, those are the activities. And tonight I'm going to bring on a special guest. I'm excited for tonight. You know, I love Legal Shield because we have the opportunity to celebrate people's success. You know, over the last couple of weeks, we've celebrated Danny Godin and what she's done. We've celebrated Matt Miller for, you know, both of them reached the senior director. Everybody celebrate Matt Miller got on Facebook today, the only millennial to get on it 10 years after it started. Welcome, Matt, to Facebook. But this guy I'm getting ready to introduce right now, you know, he had the opportunity to, he did this month hit senior director. I've known this gentleman since I started Legal Shield. When I started Legal Shield, he wasn't in my organization, but I did know who he was. And, you know, then he got out of Legal Shield. He'll explain some of that stuff. And then he got back into Legal Shield. Let me tell you, since he's been back in Legal Shield, life has not always been, you know, just a bed of roses. Right? I know the scenes behind the scene. I know a lot of the things, and whatever Jason shares tonight, Jason shares. You know, I saw him go into the last, you know, 2 weeks of the month. And, you know, Jason has always talked in a positive frame of mind, no matter what he had going on in life. And there was a lot of stuff that was, you know, happening. He always had a positive mind. I remember 2 weeks ago, he said, I'm getting this senior director. And then we got down to the last couple of days. He still needed like 394 points. And I wanted to believe you, Jason. I was like, man, it's the last day, 394 points. I'm like, man, you know, I'll be honest. I was like, I don't know how he's going to do it, because I don't think you ever had a day like that, man. I don't think you had a month where you yourself have ever gone out and written over $700 in premium by yourself to reach senior director. So Jason, you know, I want to turn it over to you, man, just to, you know, share just a little bit of your journey. I got 3 or 4 or so questions for you, man. So Jason, congratulations, man. So proud of you. Go ahead and share a little bit about how that feels, but then share a little bit about the journey to get here, man.
Wow. Where do I begin? Can you hear me okay, Timmer?
Yes, sir. You're doing good.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Wardell. I was born in Harvey, Illinois, raised in 3 towns. I grew up very, very humble beginnings. We struggled a lot. My mother was a single mom of 5 of us, so we moved a lot. I think I moved 14 times in my lifetime. So it was a lot of instability, but there was a lot of love in my house. We stuck together. My siblings and I are tight and close knit to this day. Fast forward, get an opportunity to do some things in music. I had a passion to sing as a young man. Both sides of my family carried that gift, and so I did that and got a lot of notoriety. Did some talent shows, and then when I got to high school, did some things there. So much so, I am officially on the Wall of Fame at our school. I was the first kid in 147-year history of my high school to be inducted into the Wall of Fame for anything that wasn't sports related. I started a new trend. Why? Because I had my music teacher said I had 78 awards that was for music. Music voice, choir, while I was in high school. Had 14 different scholarship offers for music at the time, from Peabody University to Juilliard. Even had some Broadway auditions, and even had an opportunity to an invitation to work at Disney. But September 11th happened. And then and I charted a different course. I was taking Marine Corps ROTC at the time because it was just introduced in our school. And that was my first year taking it instead of taking gym. And so I bit the bug. I went to give blood that night that the Twin Towers fell. It was lines wrapped around the corner. And and at that moment I said, you know what? I have to do something different. So September 11th happened. And then on September 17th, I officially sworn in to join the United States Marine Corps. It was against the wishes of a lot of people because I had so many scholarship offers at college, but I wanted to do something that was bigger than myself. I was passionate about serving my country. So that was something that I ended up doing. So I ended up going to Japan, serving there, went through boot camp, through the ranks, had tremendous success. And then along came Legal Shield at the age of 20. I needed the membership. I had some speeding tickets, was paying high insurance at the time because I had a brand new car. And my insurance was through the roof. It was killing me. So I needed the services that Legal Shield had. And I utilized them right away. I saw the value right away. Got started in a business. The very first day I got married. Actually, my associate agreement process, October 2004, the same day I married my high school sweetheart, who I'm still married to today, the love of my life. We'll be celebrating 16 years of marriage this coming October 1st. And got started in a business. My very first day, folks, I recruited 9 people my first day in the business in 2004. We didn't have websites. We didn't have Zooms. We didn't have Prospect by Legal Shield, which I'll get to a little later on. It was just all sheer excitement and passion. Did a private business reception. So many people showed up. People had to stand in the hallway. Then paperwork just started flying everywhere. I went manager, almost director in one night. Fast forward, ended up going director in my first 3 months in the business. But here's an interesting thing, and it's the power of network marketing. I left to go to Iraq moving forward that February 2004, 2005. From February 2005 to September of 2005, so we're talking about 8 months roughly, my organization exploded. We had nine directors, 46 managers. We had 2 people go executive director. But here's the deal. I was in Iraq. All of that activity was occurring while I was away serving my country. That's the power of this business. So, but it was short-lived, came back. The business had fizzled and died because I wasn't there to cultivate the organization. I wasn't there to drive the right habits that drives the right results. And so here I am, 21 years old, just about turned 21 in 2005. I had to build it over. So that I did. And in 6 months, I got us back to an executive director position. We recruited, we built 14 more manager teams. We got back to the executive director status. We had written, and now keep in mind, from February of 2004 to May of 2005, we wrote 4,700 memberships, folks. 4,700 memberships. And we recruited over 500 people in less than a year. No, a little over a year. So it was rocking and rolling. Everything was great. I was in the North Carolina area, the coastal Carolina area. Everything was going well. And then I got I had to move. My commission, my enlistment was up. My time was up in the Marines. And so I had to move back home. And so I came back home, no team, no business. No infrastructure in place, new marketplace. And as they say, when you move to a new market, as you well know, you kind of got to start over again. And I did. I built the business all over again when I got home. However, the Marines came knocking 20 months later, right as I was on the cusp of an explosion. So we're talking 2008. The recession hit, and then I got recalled back to active duty. Now, keep in mind, I'm away. My payments and things were changing. I was in the transition of getting a new bank account. And to make long story short, while I was over in Iraq, literally, I lost my entire business due to the cancellation of my business, cancellation of my membership, unbeknownst to me. By the time I got home, it was too late. My executive team tried to beg and plead with the company, and there was nothing they can do. I had missed the reinstatement period. So imagine, folks, you're building an executive director organization. You sold thousands and thousands of memberships, and your business dies unbeknownst to yourself. You actually lose your business due to your associate agreement canceling and going into drop status. So I waited another 3 months, came back in the business, got to the senior manager position, was rocking again, and then life happens. My wife and I had 2 kids premature. My mom passed away. She made her transition, and we had moved 3 times due to bed bug infestation. And so we lost furnishings, we lost money. So I went from having $30,000 in the bank to my accounts being negative $1,000. I literally hit rock bottom. I'm a new dad, trying to go to school, trying to figure things out to survive. Had nowhere to turn. It got so bad that we had to stay in a hotel for some time. My membership and everything died again. I was out of the business again for the second time in a row. and it was a tough time. It got so bad to the point to where we were homeless. I was a husband, homeless with 2 kids under 7 years old. And it was a very, very humbling experience. But thanks be to God, we were able to bounce back. Due to my military status, I was able to get some housing support, and we slowly rebuilt our lives. And so fast forward, here we are, 2016. I get a phone call from a good friend of mine, Cornell Darton, who's no longer in the business, but we're still friends to this day. And he asked me, was I still in Legal Shield? I told him I wasn't at the time, but I was strongly considering getting back. I was keeping my eyes and ears open in regards to all the changes that were being made in regards to Prospect by Legal Shield, the transition from Prepaid Legal Services Inc. to Legal Shield. I was seeing what Alan Fernley and Rick Mason, who was the CEO at the time, were doing. And then he told me, have I heard of Timmer Halligan? I said, yeah, Timmer sounds familiar. A guy that I knew out of Kentucky. He said, well, he's in Chicago and I'm on his team. I was like, are you kidding me? He was like, yeah. He said, what are you doing tomorrow? We set up a meeting. They drove all the way from Will County, all the way close to the Indiana state line, because I was living in a town called Sauk Village at the time. We met at the subway. And the only reason why we met at the subway, because I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car at the time, didn't have driver's license. So my license got suspended, which is a whole nother story. But I was excited to see about the new improvements of Legal Shield. Folks, I never lost sight of the vision. I never lost sight of what these services can do for folks, because that's what sold me from day one. I was dead sold on the services. I never lost sight of that. I was just waiting for the opportune time to join the business. And so Timmer and Cornell came and sat down with me, and they showed me Prospect by Legal Shield. And literally I said, this is a game changer. Here is a contact resource management system that's cutting edge. That's an app on your phone. It's something you don't have to carry around paper and lose your notepad with all your names and phone numbers in it. It's once it's in, it stays in. And so I immediately got excited. Got involved in the business. I jumped in. I didn't even have the money. Cornell fronted me the money to get started. And so I immediately hit the ground running, went manager, went senior associate within my first week, went manager within my first month. But fast forward to the first week. So I'm working part-time in retail management, and I had a huge week of revenues hitting my account. And so I had saved a little bit, and I decided to walk away from that retail job. Hint, hint, folks, never quit your job too soon. Part-time is always better than full-time. That's a little tidbit. And so what ended up happening was there was a digit missing on my account number. So the money that was supposed to hit my account was in limbo, because it wasn't recognizing the account number, because the account technically didn't exist with my bank, because it was a digit missing from the account number. And so they kept sending the money back to Legal Shield, and Legal Shield kept pushing the money back to the bank. And so basically my account went in the negative almost $700. Now, mind you, I have no job. Everything just went a turn for the worse. I actually quit my job too soon, prior to against my wife's wishes. Husbands, listen to your wives. They know what they're talking about. And it was just a downhill spiral. There was a trickle down effect. One thing led to another. My wife, it was in a joint account, and a lot of her funds from her business got lost in the shuffle. So it was a very, 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 very tough experience. Bills couldn't get paid. It got so bad that ended up losing water, got disconnected. It was a very, very, very tough time for us. But I never lost sight. I never lost hope. I always knew this would work out. Fast forward, we go to convention 2018. I'm down there. I'm excited. I go against my wife's wishes again and go to the convention on a hope and a prayer, just to be around my Legal Shield family. Ended up losing my keys to the rental car that I rented. Had to stay a couple extra days. Had a squabble with Mr. Ted Wilson and his crew, who are a godsend. I thank God for them. They were a lifesaver for me. But I never forget, one night we were at convention. I lost my keys. I barely had enough money to take an Uber to get back to the Airbnb we were staying at. And I'm sitting at the gate. It's locked. I don't have a key to get in, the security gate to the condo we stayed in. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm in a suit. My feet are hurting. I can't reach anybody. I'm calling Ted. I'm calling the team, and nobody's picking up the phone because it's 4 o'clock in the morning. They're all asleep. And literally, I became overwhelmed. I literally hit rock bottom. I prayed, cried out to God. I was like, man, what am I doing? What's going on? And I was at my worst end. I was contemplating sleeping on the grass, literally outside the apartment building, because I had nowhere to go anywhere else. And so, long story short, what ended up happening, a random gentleman, after I prayed to God, came out of nowhere, and he actually opened the gate and let me in. I was able to get in and get into the apartment and get rest that night. And so that was literally the introduction to changing my life. I had a few health scares leaving that convention. I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes due to my overweight, being grossly overweight and not eating the right things. And so I went on a journey, a weight loss journey, to get my life back. And so for the whole year, when I came back from that convention, I didn't write one piece of business. All I did was focus on improving my health. So I ended up losing about 130 pounds. I'm 140 pounds down now. So things are moving in the right direction. I eat well now, and I work out regularly. Everything is working well in that regards. But about 3 months ago, I said, you know what? Now is the time for me to just go for it. Just build hard, build strong, and just build this business as fast and as strong as I possibly can. And so that's what I did. I started, my first goal was to get PC. I got that done month 2. My next goal was to get PC Pro done in the month of July. Got that done. And then my next goal was to get senior director done. And so that started this month because I was a senior manager going into the month of August. And I said to myself, okay, I need X amount of points to get director, and I need X amount of points to get to the senior director. And I just went for broke. I shook every tree. I called every person. I did 3 ways with Mr. Jackson, one of my good friends from my first organization that I lost, Timmer Halligan. I stayed in constant contact with him, and I just burned the phones down. I didn't keep track of how many people I called. I just called until it happened. I just pushed until it happened. I didn't focus on the results. I just focused on the activity, and the results took care of themselves. And so here we are. I ended up going from senior manager to senior director in 1 month. And I'm right in prime position to go to executive director in the month of September.
Well, Jason, that's I know that folks are listening into that story, and I think that we all can relate, and but you've gone through, and I wrote myself a note earlier. I said, listen, Jason, I remember him coming down. I remember him staying at my parents' house with me. I can remember him, coming down and sleeping on the floor in our hotel a couple times. I can remember him taking a bus to get to Louisville, I think, for our summer blast. And so, man, you deserve, all the success. And so congratulations. Any closing words that you've got for anyone so we can wrap up here in about, 1 minute or so, but anything final you want to say to everyone?
It's simply this, and that is God has a plan for our life, but his plan is hidden in our problem. And his problem is simply a hint of his prophecy. But what makes God so amazing is that he will actually use your problem to prepare and to propel you towards your promise. Romans 8:18 is one of my favorite scriptures, and it says, I reckon that these present sufferings are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. And that's something that I hung my head on when I was homeless. That's the scripture that kept me when I was in combat. That's the scripture that kept me when I was running for senior director. That's the scripture that kept me when my lights was off, my water was off, I didn't have food, I didn't have a place to stay. that was just the scripture that kept me. No matter what I go through, those present sufferings are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed. And as long as you keep that as your focus and recognize the delayed doesn't mean denied, and all things work together for the good, I promise you, if you just keep pushing, he'll keep providing.
Well, man, I can't really follow that up. You know, we got all kinds of people, you know, that are responding in the chat box, man. I think you know, struck a chord. I think people got to really know the man that I've seen over these last, you know, several years and, you know, seen you through these things. And, you know, I know there was a lot of other things in there you still didn't even throw in, right? I mean, so I know that, so appreciate you, man. Congratulations to you and Shamika. You guys deserve it. Your family deserves it, man. And listen, team, what a great training that we had tonight. We'll definitely have this one. It's recorded. We'll have it so everybody can take a look at it. Jason, appreciate you. Guys, let's go out. We got no excuses. We got no excuses that we can actually validate for not getting done what we know we deserve to get done. Jason, appreciate you. You know, again, we've got the videos from the Summer Blast. We talked about that at the beginning. Make sure you look for that email from John Drennan. Everybody have a tremendous day, and bye-bye for now.